Hello, hello.
Kia ora.
Are you Bowen?
And welcome to...
Sorry, Amma. I married a Kiwi.
We're back, baby.
We're back. Okay, so we're back and we both were in Christchurch. And
Yeah,
then
you
now
might be
we're
wondering,
back.
where were we actually?
Yes. We recorded our last week's podcast right before I flew to Christchurch, and then you joined me and we had a great time, and then we come back and now we're back in Auckland.
Although we actually weren't really overlapping as such.
Yes.
We sort of had a week of Emasha in Christchurch for work and then my turn down there.
It was really fun experience. I don't think I have flew by myself for work like that, and it was such a fun experience.
So independent.
I am independent. What are you trying to say?
What was that experience like for you?
I know we can't go too much into details, but I think you had the easy end of the bargain because I have mapped out everything, how much of a walk it is to the office from the hotel.
That's true. Emasha was the guinea pig or the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah, I just made friends with everybody down there. Not everybody, I tried to.
Pretty much everybody.
Yeah, they were so lovely. So, yeah, you already knew by the time you landed there. I have introduced you, so they knew who were coming.
Yeah, I like having a nice clear process. I like knowing exactly where to go. So that's helpful.
Oh, so fun incident when Sam... Okay, I don't want to give the spoiler because this is a part of the spoiler that we're going to be talking about. Remember, last week we talked about Sam releasing his book, baby?
Oh, maybe I remember something about that. I don't know.
So we just talked about saying that we just released the book, and didn't go a week, and it was number one.
Reputedly, it became a number one bestseller in its Amazon category.
Oh, woohoo!
Briefly beating Harry Potter, which I don't know how that makes sense, but
Okay, you need to stop saying how that makes sense. Your book was amazing.
You're actually right. That makes perfect sense.
Right?
In a way, I think I always saw this coming.
Oh my God, okay, now you need to calm down.
It was amazing. It was really cool because we hadn't launched a book since Shadows series came out in 2015. So it'd been 10 years and I wasn't sure if it would do like just the same as last time or not. But it was really, really awesome response. And they kept on coming through. Even when I went down to Christchurch, it was cool seeing the sales come through, which is really nice. So yeah.
It was really nice.
Book 2 is coming out in 3 months, and then book 3 months after that, and then book 4 3 months after that, because I spent the last 4 years writing these. So I think we have a lot of people who are going to be keen for the new release.
There are people who are already talking about it, and a few of the friends who are reading the book in the office, I have told them that I might sneak the second book to them. Should I not do that?
Well, I think that now you said it on the podcast, I think everyone's going to be fighting over getting a copy.
Okay, so no books, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So what I was trying to say is that while I was down in Christchurch, Sam's book went up to bestseller. And I am somebody who just runs around.
I was very emotional. I was running around like a headless chicken being like, oh my gosh, we did it. And I was on the phone with Emma.
And then you called me and then told me about it. And I was like, I just have to tell this to somebody. I don't know who to say. And then I just ran out of the office and then walked into the reception, and this poor lady, and just I'm so sorry. I don't
know anybody in Christchurch.
Yeah. I just need somebody to tell this story, and then just unloaded this whole thing onto this poor lady, and then she was so sweet about it. And I'm like, thank you for listening to me, yay! And then I went back to work.
It was super sweet. And then when I went down, they all were expecting this best-selling author, and it was a lot of pressure really to live up to.
Did you live up to?
I don't know. They were watching me expectedly like I was a monkey about to do a trick or something. I don't know. It was really, really amazing. Yeah, it was really emotional, and yeah.
So how's
Stop looking at me with those emotional eyes. No, I'm getting emotional.
How do you feel about being a bestseller? So I just asked you, and I sort of interviewed you, project style, about releasing the book. So now what do you have to say about being the bestseller, Mr. Sam Blood?
I don't know. I think, from my perspective, what it looks like is just me refreshing the sales board constantly on my laptop, looking at how the nice coloured bar graph keeps going up. That's kind of the most rewarding part of the post. the post-launch process. And it's amazing because I can see the whole, like, way back to 2015, like, all the sales over that time. So it's like a lovely visual growth. I think the main thing is that I just want to keep becoming a better writer and a better business person in terms of marketing and everything. So, yeah, it's really awesome. And of course, I love where my life is now compared to little couch surfing writing Sam back then.
You say like it was a bad era, but I keep saying how jealous I am of that era because you got to travel the world and then just sit in, say, random beaches with a little cat and then write in, I don't know, cottages
in a
like
bungalow
beaches.
in Laos.
In Laos, yeah.
Yeah, it was an amazing time and I'm really appreciative that I got that. But it's just, I guess, just awesome to still be writing in the same universe and see how much my life has grown in that time as well.
Yeah, so just a quick update. I don't know if I want to be saying this because I'm putting pressure on myself. I started reading the book.
It was really lovely having Emasha like giggling at the book beside me.
No, it is actually so funny. And then I would read some bits and I'm like, oh my God, that is so me. I would definitely say stuff like that.
Which is why I've started to wonder, like, was it already like Emasha that I was writing, like, before I even met you?
I don't know, like, I only read like 2 chapters yesterday and there were a few, like, remarks or like chords already that I can be like, oh, that is totally me. Who would have said that?
I think Alexandra Crowley does have your sass.
I am a bit sassy. Okay, so
I came up from Christchurch and I had a bit of issue going through security because...
Oh yeah, good story. Do tell.
Because, well, you know, my bag got... I always try to look at my best behaviour, you know? I'm like, I took all the right things off and left all the other right things on and I've gone through the security and then my bag is like the only one that's diverted into, you know, the double security queue. So this poor woman is like rifling through my backpack and I thought I'd cleaned it pretty well, but there was all these pie wrappers that she pulled out and then like all these opened packets of Haribo candy and there's like gummy bears like bouncing off the security desk.
I'm just like imagining the whole chaos. It's like Mr. Bean trying to go through the security.
And she's trying to act like, you know, this is like, keep the fight.
By the way, I was not there for this. Otherwise, this wouldn't have been happening, I'm pretty sure.
True. That's true. I'm kind of reminded of what happens on Sam's single life. So that was okay. It was just some spare batteries. She tried to keep a straight face the whole time, but I could tell she was like, this guy needs to get his act together. And then I left, and then a little while later I realised I wasn't wearing my belt. And then I'd taken off my belt because of the metal detectors. Yeah. So I went back and said, this is embarrassing, but I've looked through my bag because I can't find the belt. And they were so sweet about it. The guy was a real sweetheart. All 4 of them were like shaking the trays, looking for the belt where it could have fallen. Kept asking me, is it my bag? I'm like, no. But then, of course, after a while, I realised actually it was at the bottom of my bag, and I just kind of overlooked it in my panic of escaping security. So, and I thought in that situation I'd be big enough to tell them my mistake, but that's not what happened.
You coward.
And eventually I was like, oh, you guys have tried really hard. It's okay. I don't need a belt. You know, I'm good. And the guy's like, hey, you know what we can do? We can put all your bags through security again. I'll scan them and I'll see if the belt is hidden somewhere inside your bag. I'm like, oh mate, that's so sweet. But look, my flight's taking off. I've got to go.
Bye.
I'm so sorry if you guys ever listen to this.
Yeah, I think you really need to issue a public apology about that. Oh my God. And then somehow you landed back and we went to pick it up, me and my brother, and then we were like, okay, Sam, when you come out, just let us know. We're parking right near, so we will come pick you up. And then Sam's like, oh yeah, I'm coming out. I'm out. We're like, which zone are you in? So anybody knows about the Auckland airport, there are zones. So we're like, is it zone 1, zone 2? It's like, I don't see a zone. We were like, no, you should see one. He's like, I don't know. I think I walked out of the airport.
Brother Sammy's like, you'll definitely be in a zone. I'm like, I'm in the no zone. I can see zone 1 beginning in the far distance. And then this little fence, I kept kind of followed the fence, but it guided me out of the airport until I was kind of walking away from the airport itself entirely, past a sign which has a walking person on it and a big cross going through it.
Yeah. Which says you shouldn't be walking there.
And then you guys were trying to find me, and then I was like, can you see me? And I'm trying to kind of dance to get your attention, and then Sammy on the phone is like, yeah, I can see your butt wiggling. I realised that the whole queue of cars trying to enter into the drop-off zone must also see my butt wiggling.
We had to go through the drop-off pickup zone for no reason and then come around from the other end and then just pick up this guy who has already left the airport.
I just want to get out of there.
Anyways, so with all the drama of Sam's adventures, we are back in our normal habitat.
Hooray! And there's been a lot of buzz. There's been a lot of buzz going on around the podcast.
Oh, yes.
Word on the street.
Yeah, you were not there. Last week was very happening.
Yeah.
In the
Emasha
office-
waited until I left town to have like a giant night out on the city.
It was real fun.
Living her best life.
So there were a few updates from the office front. I'm not gonna name names. You know who you are. Somebody was very upset that we didn't give him a big enough shout out. They, him, she.
Ravan will continue to be unnamed.
Why would you
But
do
there
that?
there was disputes of did we give more of a shout out to Liam or Ravan or Lindsay, and that became contentious.
Right.
Point being, we've got a great new supportive crew who are really excited.
I was actually bouncing off some ideas before we get into the real 3 months of Emasha in Sri Lanka, like what exactly went down. Like
This
so
is
I
like our test group.
Yeah, I consulted the real listeners to bounce off the ideas on like how far we're going, what are the things that we're going to be discussing and stuff like that.
Maybe
because they're very sensitive things. Yeah.
Apprehensions about, we don't want like to cast anyone in a bad light, even though it was like a difficult situation for more people on all sides to go through.
Yeah.
And what did the test audience say?
I think the test audience came up with a bit of a middle ground, and so one of them, again, I'm not going to name names, is in a bit of a multicultural relationship as well. So they were very excited. They were like, no, don't hold back too much, because I would like to know what happened and what went through to understand, to see the perspectives, because when I was in that position, I would have wished I could listen to people who go through that. So we will try our best to keep things to for the reals, but at the same time, we will be a bit cautious about it.
Yeah, I think because we love like all the people in the story, we're coming at it from a good place, and we just want the listeners, especially those who aren't familiar with these cross-cultural situations, to understand. Like, we know someone who's dating a Sri Lankan in Ireland, who recently kind of heard about the situation and was like, oh, but why wouldn't the family be okay with this? And it's like, you must have had an easy run, my friend. My goodness.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing, like even within the countries, like certain part of like any Asian country can be very progressive, and then the lifestyle has been changed. Like literally yesterday I was having a chat with a friend of mine, a Sri Lankan friend of mine, and Timani and Jane, like the three of us were having a chat, and the stuff that I say sometimes, like my friend who is also from Sri Lanka, she's like, I don't understand. Like I can't fathom the stuff that you're saying. Like the small things, but at the same time, it's like, what? Because she was born here, although she studied back in Sri Lanka for a while. She was predominantly living in Colombo. Same with my friend Gary. Like they were,
which is the big city,
like Auckland.
Yeah.
Like things happen in Auckland happen in a different phase compared to the rest of the country.
Anyone in New Zealand will know the difference between Auckland and, some attitudes in small towns, South Island.
Yeah.
Nothing against the South Island, lovely place, a lot of people, but you do find some communities where they're obviously just not exposed to, other cultures as much. And yeah, I think that's just any place as soon as you get far out from the big city, right?
Yeah, so you don't get that the progressive attitudes and stuff. So like you're kind of like stuck in old ways of thinking and ways of doing things. So where I come from, that's why it's a little bit of like, oh, okay, what are we doing here? Sort of questions that came up when we started dating. So I don't think we are going to get into the real nitty gritty stuff of the long distance 3 months. I think that's going to be next week. So, and also about talking about the cultural differences and like how important this particular dialogue is. So our friend Gary, caught up with the podcast episodes. She went through the whole thing.
This is Gary, who is kind of the reason that Emasha got kicked out the door to go on the date.
Yep. Oh, that was so... jumping back again. Sorry, I'm all over the place. So last week, when we talked about the Emasha's big night out, me and a bunch of my friends, we went out for the Friends quiz, actually. And it was so fun. Lindsay was so excited to meet Gary, and Gary's like, and I was like, oh no, she knows the story. She's like, oh, yay!
She knows all about you from the podcast.
So, anyways, we won second place. That was really
Congratulations.
good. Thank you. Liz Barber, my good friend, she was just underselling her actually before we go. She was like, oh, well, I have watched it like a long time ago. I can't remember. And bam. And the questions, she and Genevieve just went crazy. By the time the questions were read out, either she has already wrote down this answer, or Jenny's like kind of whispering the answer to Liz's ear. So
this is a quiz on the Friends TV show. I can't remember if we said that.
I don't think we did. I'm so sorry. So we went to a Friends themed quiz in a pub last week. That's what happened. And it was really fun. And we won second place. And we won a game of Monopoly that's themed on the Friends TV show.
Well, congratulations.
That's
That's why we wanted to do this episode, really, is just to celebrate.
My celebrations, not your book celebrations.
No, definitely the Friends Monopoly set.
So anyways, Gary kind of like caught up to the podcast after that. And then she went and found out the TikTok. We kind of mentioned about the TikTok going viral in the very first few episodes, I think. And then when she started going through the TikTok reels, she stumbled upon some gnarly comments, I would say.
Yeah, I think I mentioned how I'd never done TikTok before. And then we're skipping forward a little bit here, but when we ended up going to Sri Lanka, I posted some TikToks about that, and they kind of got like 100,000 views just very quickly. I think all of Sri Lanka knew we were there. But of course, like, that was our first flash of experiencing fame, and also like the horror of the comments section, where some, I think like, there's an image of the two of us at the Poroa, and some guy was saying like, what was the
I think it was like, job security.
It was something about like, did it for the visa type thing.
Somebody said did it for the visa, and somebody said it's the job security.
Someone down in the comments was like, oh, please, sir, give me a job. Like,
and then Gary was messaging Sam, was like, sir, can I have a job?
She was like laughing her ass off. But then also we saw like our friends all going into that comment section like...
Yeah. My cousins and like my friends like, well, she had job security, I'll have you know.
She already had her residency, if you must know. I'm glad our team was there to bat for us.
Yeah. The two of us are like stunned about the comments, and then our whole community is going like trying to...
But like, even though I think we
defend
just accept like it's always just a rule of life that the comment section is going to have terrible people. Like it still means those attitudes are still there, right? And that's why we're doing the podcast, because like this isn't a story about, you know, you marrying someone coming to New Zealand. Like, you are a badass lawyer who came here on her own, like with not knowing anybody in the country, with no support, and forged this like incredible career for yourself. And then you're like, and I also want to have the love thing too.
Exactly. I just do not want a job from you, sir.
That's good, because I have no jobs to give. We were also commenting during the whole process that like my New Zealand citizenship did nothing for Emasha. Like, there was no benefits to that whatsoever. You think maybe like partnership or something would like accelerate like the process, but you already had your residency through work. And
there was
I gave no benefits, I gave no job. Just put that on the record.
But yeah, no, the reason we brought that up is that like it kind of reminded us like how important the conversation is, and to keep the dialogue going. Also,
certain events we may have been at recently made us have a lot of, I think, deep conversations about how those attitudes still exist, right?
Okay, let's go into that.
We're not going to name where we were, but we were at an event where someone came up who was quite like outwardly nice. Like,
it was a very nice woman,
yeah, which makes it sadder. But she came up and kind of like just, I think, straight after introductions, like turns to Emasha and she's like, oh, so where are you from? And
I think her first question was like, who are you? How do you know this event, Hawaii. I think it was just me and Sammy who were the only non-white people in the event. So
I'm sorry that you have to hold that flag at most of the events you go to.
That's not the problem, but like when I was having a massive headache, otherwise I think I would have said something might have come out of my mouth. But I think I was not in a place to be defending myself or like just to be annoyed at her. And I was like looking at her thinking like, do I really answer this question?
Luckily Sam was there, so
I love the way you reacted.
it wasn't, I mean, I'm Sam, I don't get like...
You don't get mad. That's why I was surprised. Like, I can't remember who your first response to her was, but then she kind of got very defensive, and then she's like, "Oh no, I'm from the
UK."
Oh yes. So I'm from the UK. So I'm just like, I have been here for 8-9 years as well. So that's why I'm asking, how do you like it? How do you like New Zealand?
And I was like, how do you like New Zealand? And she's like, good. Lots of beaches.
Nice weather. I love it. But the thing is, like, I have been here a long time now, but again, I wasn't born here. I didn't grow up here. So for me, it was kind of like I can't just like brush it off. But a lot of my friends who were born here, like, it's so offensive to us that.
Yeah, a lot of like Kiwis, just because they're not white, right, get automatically assumed that they're not part of like the population, which is crazy. That still happens all the time.
That is true. And then like I was telling Jen yesterday, like my friend who's Australian, I was like, Jen, do you think if you were there as Sam's wife in that scenario, would she come up to you and ask like, where are you from? Because she, like, it was just, I haven't spoken a word to this woman at that point. It wasn't like, oh, I had a different accent or like anything to do with anything except my color.
Yeah, it makes me mad. I know it's like comes from a place of curiosity that they don't know that, but that's why we're telling them now. And you're very lovely if you're listening to this person who came up to us, but just so you know,
for the future,
when that's like your opening question at an event, it like instantly others that person and instantly says like, I don't think you belong here. Like, what's your story and how do you justify the fact that you're here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's how I felt. I was like, oh no, I instantly looked at Sam and was like, oh, please tell me why I'm here. Tell her why I'm here.
And I'm like, I said how I'm actually like the opposite end. Like I'm always way too cautious about asking a friend where they're from.
To the point, like after 10 years of friendship, you wouldn't know where they're from.
Yeah, someone's like, oh, where are their parents from? I'm like, I don't know. I've always been too cautious to ask. It's like, I think you're there. I think you can ask now. Just don't start with that.
Yeah, and like be respectful. That's all. Yeah. So. Yeah, I guess a few things happened last week that makes us want to go hard on the story and then like speak freely and then truthfully about our story, which I think is very important.
Yeah, and we better start moving into that because I think people are going to be clawing their eyes out wanting to get to what happened after you left for Sri Lanka. Did you ever come back? These are big questions that need answering.
I did come back, disclaimer, but...
Okay, well that's... can we cut that out? Spoiler?
Oops, spoiler alert. We just told everybody that we are in Auckland now, so I did come back.
We're actually doing this remotely. She's in Sri Lanka with her new husband. I wish them the very best. So it's kind of weird that we're doing a podcast.
Wasn't that part of the plan at one point?
Yeah, that's definitely a spoiler. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
So last time, little recap, Emasha left. We'd met 1 month before she left for Sri Lanka, possibly for good. That was, trying to win an Emasha in 30 days. And we knew that parents, family weren't going to like instantly be on board with the concept of you dating a Suda, which is the Sri Lankan term for a foreigner.
Yeah, so that means white dude, yep. Sudhi is white girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am Suda.
You're a Suda, yeah.
Okay. And I feel like I'm not sure if we've mentioned kind of in the build up to that during that first month of knowing each other, I did get to meet your younger brother, Sammy, on video call. We were at a cafe. You were like, hey, do you want to meet someone? You turned the phone to me on video call. And at this point, we were being very Game of Thrones about it. Like, we're going to have to build an alliance. We're going to have to figure out who our allies are in the family tree. and bring them to our side and go to war.
Yeah, so I think your first ally that I picked Sammy as the first ally to be like, okay, let's just reach out to this guy and then try to win him over. So
I think he was just he was partway through working his day job in Colombo at the time, right? Like he looked kind of out of it. He was like,
I tried to call him, like video call. He did not care much.
he wasn't getting too emotionally invested early on, which is probably smart. But I was like, I need this guy. And I'd heard so much about him, like I already had that love in me for him that you have just through hearing those stories and everything. But it was a terrible connection. I couldn't hear him properly. I'm like, please message him and tell him that I'm a normal person. I just couldn't hear.
I think you froze at one point, and then he was like, okay.
And then I wanted, again, in a part of an effort to win him over, I went to, I think, EB Games and bought him Game of Thrones merchandise for Emasha to take to Sri Lanka with her.
Right.
Got him some awesome Targaryen dragon socks and a Targaryen keychain.
Right. He to the date has that Targaryen keychain on his car
He is
keys.
currently living with us, walking around the house in his Targaryen dragon socks. So, job well done.
Job well done. So when I gave him the gift, the first words he's out of his mouth is like, he's trying to butter me up.
This guy.
Well, he did that very well. To the point now you have to be taking care of him.
I know, he's like, well, you signed up for it.
Yeah, somehow he became our teenager child that we did not ask for.
But always wanted.
Yeah.
So we saw a photo of you when you... Oh, I guess that's playing us out.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, pause that. Don't be so eager. We're sorry for the interruption to that broadcast. We had some technical issues. So Emasha was heading to Sri Lanka and you posted a photo of you at the airport reading Shadows.
Oh, let's not mention that.
Why not?
I tried to read that book I think 10 times the last year.
You might not have read it, but you definitely posted a lot of social media of you reading it.
Okay, just you're now outing me.
So what was it? Okay, we're going to finish this podcast for the life of us. I know we have a lot to go into, but I just want to give our listeners a taste that we are headed to Sri Lanka, the Teardrop Isle. So maybe just give us a taste of what was it like for you flying back there?
You mean, what did I feel? What were my feelings when I get into the flight? Is that what you're asking?
Your feelings on the flight, your feelings flying there, because obviously it's very hard being away from home, but you had been there fairly recently by your standards. Like a year before that, you'd gone for your older brother's wedding?
Yep.
Wedding?
Yeah. I don't think it's even a year at that point. Yes, I enjoyed... How do I put it? So... There was so many emotions there. In one way, I met a guy that I'm like, ooh, this guy is very nice.
Who is this guy?
You don't know him.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's fine. He's called Sam Blood. He's a cool dude. So this Sam Blood cool dude was showing some good intentions and good future. Yeah, the look on your face. And I wasn't sure where I'm heading with that. And at the same time, the reaction... So everybody knows about the Bubble Tree breakup now. According to the Bubble Tree breakup... Bubble tea breakup. I wasn't hopeful, to be honest. I mean, I knew, as I said earlier, I knew it's going to be a fight if I had to. But at the same time, I was like... Okay, let's give it a go. But I did not know the extent of the backlash sort of thing. But at the same time, I was kind of like, I'm scrambling.
Do you mean that you didn't, even when you were flying back there, you didn't know how much resistance there was going to be?
The resistance plus how much, more than the resistance, the part that was... more surprising to me was how much of like non-acceptance, like, what is the word for it? You know how people, when they eat meat, they don't connect it to actual animals?
It's like you're compartmentalizing or cognitive dissonance.
Yes, and then willful ignorance. No, that's not the word. So it's kind of like you're like, okay, I'm gonna put a blind here. I'm gonna put a veil here, and I don't see behind that veil, sort of thing. So kind of like, okay, I don't see that. So I wasn't expecting how much of that I would see from my parents, from Amma. Sorry, Amma. To the extent how she would be like, oh no, that never happened. So we just, life went on as normal, and then things went as normal. And just for me, I had this boy back in New Zealand. If I'm being honest, I was kind of like blank when I flew. I wasn't sure what's going to happen. I wasn't too hopeful, but at the same time, I was sort of hopeful. So I think I was kind of in a place where, like, because, I was thinking about this the other day, because so Westerners, and from your perspective, from how you were brought up, you were brought up to be like, oh, you like the person, you just go get the person. If you want to live, if you love somebody, if you have some feelings towards somebody, you go get him or her.
Yeah.
But that's not how...
And how did your family get in the way of that?
Exactly. Like nobody...
Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet was so far out in the past. Nobody even think before... I don't know. Any of my friends, when they start dating, they don't think about their parents. That's not the first thing that comes to their mind. But then for me, how dare I think of pursuing love without the permission from my parents. So I think I went in without, like, actually not thinking much, because I wasn't sure what to expect.
So you thought, I'm just wondering, like, where you were on balance. Like, did you think, into the sky, there's a chance that family might accept, but largely there's a chance they probably won't, so I'll try to keep my hopes low? Is that...
I think that's correct. Yeah. I did not want to be too hopeful. I was very scared to be too hopeful, to be honest. But at the same time, I'm somebody, if I want something, I will just get it.
Also, I just want to say that that reference earlier to cognitive dissonance and eating animals, that wasn't a judgy thing at all.
Yeah, cutting that out.
I have a friend who eats chicken.
Yeah. I think we better stop today.
So what are we going to be talking about next week?
I think we're going to be starting with me landing in Sri Lanka, and then starting my work, that the role that I started, and how things escalated from there onwards.
So your part of this podcast is going to be very exciting, very dramatic, and mine is going to be about me sitting on a bed, just kind of staring out a window, kind of like the equivalent of Bella in the second Twilight movie, where Edward leaves and she's just staring slowly, like starving.
Why would you compare yourself to Bella out of all the characters?
Because that's me in this part of the story. Sri Lanka is the new moon. Sorry, Amma, I married a Kiwi.
That was very thrilling.
Hi-yo.
Yep, we have trips coming up, and then we have proposals coming up, and so much more.
Whose proposal?
You will find out.
Okay. Alrighty, that's going to be next time on
Sorry, Amma,
I married a Kiwi.
Bye. Alright, guys. See you next week.